It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me is my dear friend.
I am Ramona Ramirez.
All right, so we are doing Real Housewives of New York City today. Should we just get into it? I don't even know how to start this one.
I think we should. You know, I had real high hopes for this franchise. It took me a while to get into it. I watched the first episode when it came out, and then it was weeks before I caught up, and now I've been keeping up with it. And I gotta say, I'm back to thinking this franchise, this reboot is bullshit. Last week was a complete waste of my fucking time. And this week, I don't know, Sai's mean, Uba's rad, Jessel is trying for as unpalatable as she is. You know, Bryn is Bryn, Jenna's Jenna. It's so fucking boring. This
It
franchise
is really boring.
boring the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that because I was like, I haven't been watching with like my whole attention this season. I've watched, and then watching it with the intent of like having to talk about it, I was like, oh no, I'm
I
really
know.
bored and I don't like anyone enough to hate them even. I don't know, they just seem obnoxious without any like character or personality to it. At least our old RHONY women had, I don't know, some sort of special edge to them. But it's just like Sai has like some Bethany vibes to her, but it's not enough either way. So she just does just come off as like a mean lady. It was not a blast watching this. It
It's
was
not a
not a
blast.
blast.
Not at all. Not at all. So I guess sorry to those who really are enjoying the franchise so far.
Yeah. Are people really enjoying it? Like, I haven't
I
really
don't
paid
know anymore.
attention, but like, because I would love to hear from them to be like, what am I missing? Like, what am I not grabbing onto here? Because this just felt like a fucking slog to watch
M-
this show.
The major discourse right now is going on, at least on Reddit. You know, it's the either I hate Erin posts or the I like Erin, why does everyone hate Erin posts? That's really it. That's really it. There are, you know, peppered with Jenna just being cool, then Bryn being hypersexual, which we can all probably agree that I mean, her childhood sounds extremely traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very soft spot for her after she got so vulnerable at the Friendsgiving, you know, about her childhood, the tidbits she's given us. She seems to have a really close, loving relationship with her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, the loss of her grandmother makes her heart feel broken. I don't know. I don't think that she is a one trick pony. I do think that there are other sides to her, and it could be that production is like, they love to put people in boxes, and this just might be the box that they're putting her in. I think that she's even alluded to that on her social media accounts.
But I feel
So,
like this episode, she's actually the only thing I liked in this episode.
mhm.
That scene in the bookstore I thought was like
Oh,
lovely.
it was
And I found her
wonderful.
so interesting. And I love that she said that like some guys are turned off that she can quote The Economist and they can't. And I also thought it was the most authentic, like New York City young woman thing to say of like the two most important things a man can have in his wallet are like an Amex Black card and a New York Public Library card. I
100%.
was like, now I love you and I get you. And like, she was the only thing, she was the saving grace for me in this episode, even though she
Yeah,
disappeared with COVID halfway through.
I
But
know.
what are you going to do? I
Yeah.
mean, we start with Jessel and Pavitt. And I thought about you when Pavitt was saying, Jessel is back from this vacation with the girls. And Pavitt says, he was left with the children with no nanny and it was nonstop and intense. Isn't that parenting? Like, what are you
It is
bitching about?
parenting. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was the first thing I wrote down too. I said, Pavitt, you did have help. I believe that Jessel's parents were still there.
I don't know, but
And
you had kids. So I'm
yeah, and
sorry, but
you have
like,
kids, right?
like it's
Um,
supposed to be nonstop and
yeah,
intense. And especially twins. Like I guess I'm just not sure why he's surprised and why he's sort of it felt a little like blamey on her.
it felt like he was kind of shocked to me, and I
Mm,
was all for his wake up call. I am extremely lucky and extremely grateful and extremely appreciative that my husband doesn't even, I mean, he gets tired when I travel by myself. He knows me well enough to know that if my soul is going to be completely nourished and I'm going to be completely recharged by spending a long weekend with my girlfriends, he is like, please go do it. When you are a happier person, you're a better mom. Josh has more than earned his like gold star dad status. You know, he is truly wonderful. And I do know other dads that are the same way. And I'm really glad. I can't stand this kind of dad that's like, oh, what? You know?
Well,
Um,
and also, like,
yeah.
he says, "You left me without a nanny," and it's like, "Well, you call a nanny.
You
You
call a
call a
nanny.
babysitter." Like, I guess
Right.
I was like, "I don't know why I'm supposed to feel bad for you right now, sir." Like, I have seen friends raise twins, and it is a whole other
I
level
can't
of
imagine.
insanity, but
Yeah.
I all I know is that they ask for help all the time from family, from friends, from professionals, like, he had a real, like, martyr moment, and I was like, "I'm not sure I feel super terrible for you." So,
I didn't feel terrible for him at all. Not at all. And this just goes to highlight all of the mental load and emotional labor that goes into parenting. There is a huge part that is just the logistics and the operations. You know, you've got to have food on the table, you've got to fix the food, you've got to do the mundane bedtime routine, which is just Groundhog Day times 10. And it makes me just want to power down, and I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I think we can go back a couple episodes when they were talking about schools. It sounds like Jessel's really the one that is, she's the one that's in charge of that project. And you know, it's a lot to juggle the birthday party schedules and the doctor's appointment schedules and the flu shot clinics and does this one have allergies? Does that one have allergies? Oh, this essay is due to that school. This application is due to. There's a lot of mundane administrative work around parenting, and it mostly falls on the mom, and it seems like it's no different in this case. And so I was glad for him getting a wake-up call to how much mental load it is to raise a kid. You know, it's a lot.
yeah.
Anyway.
I did think it was cute, the scene at the music school that they Jessel had taken her children to a music class, and the music class was happening in one room, and they kept running off to another. I just thought that was cute. They're
I
just
can relate to
babies.
that. I can
Yeah, of
relate to that.
course. I
Yeah, Leo
mean,
did that a lot.
they're kids. If it doesn't hold their attention, they're real honest about it and they're out of there. So, and then again, just story wise, we just find out that Pavitt has planned a surprise date night for her next week where they will have dinner at staycation. And I think also, I'm just bummed out. I feel so sad that their storyline is like sex, like having sex, not having had sex for so long, making a special occasion to have sex, putting all this pressure on this night to have sex.
Yeah, yeah.
And I too don't believe that they had sex that night.
Yeah, it is.
She did
It
not
is.
walk into that lunch at the end looking like a woman who'd had sex for the first time after 18 months of
She
not
really
having
didn't.
sex.
She really didn't. I wonder, well, we can get there, but I felt bad for Pavitt in that he said he planned something as a surprise, and in my mind, I was like, well, why didn't you keep it as a surprise? But I also didn't care for Jessel saying, how are you going to keep this a surprise from me? I run this household. You can't hide them. I really wish she would have. Here, let me reframe this. I cannot imagine a couples counselor not saying, you know what, Jessel? I wonder if you could have focused more on the fact that he planned a surprise versus the, how are you going to keep this for me? I run the household. You know, it just felt kind of like a downer, like quasi-critical thing to say.
Their whole interaction throughout this episode is that way. To me, it feels like nobody wants to do this date night. So they just keep picking at each other. And it's what you're saying. The whole missing piece is a therapist. You're not going to
Yeah.
resolve whatever this issue is that sends him to Vietnam on a regular basis and has led you guys to make your sex rut a storyline something is like something deeper is amiss here, and because it's not coming off as comedy
Yep.
and it's not coming off as like satisfying relationship healing. Their
Yep.
date night, I wasn't looking forward to it.
I
I
wasn't
was
either.
uncomfortable and I wanted it to be over because it just felt forced and weird and like it's not the problem. Something bigger is a problem.
And the thing is that I don't want to go as far as to say that their relationship seems to be working for them, but they do seem to have a genuine affinity for one
Mhm.
another. I think that they get each other's sense of humor. I don't know. I TBD, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm just bummed out that this has been their storyline through the
Yeah.
whole series, and everyone comments on it, and it's just ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a little bit of a higher moment following Jenna and Bryn to Henrietta Hudson's, the first gay
Yes.
bar that Jenna went to when she came out, I guess. And
Mhm.
I don't know, again, I thought it was fun and Bryn's cute and I liked her attitude. Bryn saying like she doesn't differentiate between gay and straight. If there's good looking people and booze, I'll be there and I'll be flirting. Lovely. Brokering the phone number exchange for Jenna was cute. Jenna saying that all of her teeth are fake was a bummer. Like, I don't know. It was just sort of all over the place for me. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I almost wonder if her putting the teeth thing out immediately was kind of refreshing in that she's like, "Listen, I might be Jenna Lyons. I might be fucking perfect on the outside, but I've got a whole host of stuff." And also, she knows it's gonna come out. She's talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
So but then
I mean,
again,
it was
yeah.
cute. She's obviously like uncomfortable and freshly out of like a long-term love relationship.
Yes,
So it
yes.
is that is true. We all say like a thing that might be, too intimate in a first meeting or whatever.
Totally,
But
totally.
yeah, again, I just didn't feel anything. I was like, that's nice. What
I
else?
At the end, Jenna's the woman that she exchanged numbers with was obviously not obviously in a way that they looked super like she looked so much younger, but they alluded to it a couple times that she was younger. And I still don't like I guess, gosh, I wonder if I was Jenna, if I would have felt the same way enough to make that comment. I have this body that is older than hers. And, I just don't really think that quality people give a rat's ass. They're mostly just happy to see a naked body, cellulite, stretch marks, sagging, whatever. You like the person. That made me sad, but it's also human. I know that it's easy for me to say, I wish she didn't feel that kind of insecurity about her body when I clearly have insecurities about my own, and we all do. So,
Well, and I think being fresh out of a relationship, it's hard to, it's just
totally,
hard to imagine how to, you know, re-engage in that kind of intimacy, maybe.
totally, totally.
And then we move on to our couples date with like the worst people in New York City, as far as I can tell. Erin and her husband Abe, and Cy and her husband Dave. And they gossip about Jessel's lack of sex life.
Immediately.
I
It was
know.
so
It
gross.
was really gross. And then it leads into this like really uncomfortable conversation where Erin says, if your wife didn't have sex with you for a year and a half, what would you do? And her husband says, well, I would fuck other women. And Sai's husband cackles like, like it was just so, I don't know. And I just wrote here, like, the misstep here is therapy. If you haven't
Yeah,
had sex in a year and a half, maybe before you fuck someone else or before it gets to a year and a half, go to therapy.
go to therapy.
Something's wrong. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been to therapy for this particular issue, but like, I don't know. Before you
No,
end the relationship or fuck other people or both, consider a session. That's all.
I agree 100%. What what I did not like about this scene, what struck me when the husbands were saying when Abe said, "I would fuck other women," and then Dave said, "Well, I would suggest therapy," and then Sai's like, "I won." I
Wait,
won.
he said he would suggest therapy?
I think, yeah, I think he would.
Oh, I
I
missed that.
I think
I thought
he
he just said the relationship would be over.
oh, the relationship would be over, but I know that one of them said, oh god, I could be rewriting history, but I'm pretty sure I didn't.
If that's true, I take it all back
I think
then.
no, 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 please don't yet. Please
No,
don't
no,
yet.
okay, but
I
if
think
someone
that I
said
did.
therapy, then yes, someone
I
does win.
Yeah, I think that Dave may have said that. Regardless of what Dave said, I didn't like that Cy immediately went to, "I win," and
Yeah.
talking about the husbands. Like, listen, this is a losing conversation, period. Like, s just relax. What is Cy's personality versus what is her defensiveness? I don't know.
Well, it's hilarious to me that she comes at Jessel for being competitive. Sai's whole personality is competitive. Example
100%.
A, she's with her best friend, and yet she has to take time out to go like, I win, my husband wins, I win this dinner. It's like, okay. And same with the swinging conversation that comes up because I guess Erin and Abe have had conversations about down the line getting bored with each other physically and having a hall pass or a swinging situation or whatever. And Sai all throughout is like, don't try to bring us into your swinging lifestyle. We're not about that. And it's just like, that feels competitive and damning too. If it's your friend, then be like, yay, live and let live. I don't think that's going to work in our marriage. But like, if you
Right.
guys have an understanding and an agreement and that works, even though the way they talked about it really creeped me out, I felt so unstable in Erin and Abe's relationship. I
Yeah.
feel like the second she shows an inch of aging, he's out of there. There is
Mm.
something about him that just feels so, I don't know. Because he said 10 years down the line is when he might enter a swinger's lifestyle. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what his value system is, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know why he chose Aaron. And I think that makes me worry.
To me, they seem like they are a perfect match. I
Yeah.
don't see either one of them feeling insecure about the other one's exploits, whether future fantasy exploit or whatever. They seem to be on the same page to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
No, that's again the beauty of this. Then it's like partly my shit that I'm projecting
no.
onto that where I'm like, I feel insecure, but I think you're right. Yeah.
I wonder if your insecurity is just coming from the fact that they both seem, Aaron especially, just seems like a really unsafe person. I would not want to make myself even vulnerable about, I like oat milk versus dairy milk. Like, who knows what she's going to go say? Oh yeah, she doesn't like cow milk. She's got to just go get the fancy. I don't know. She feels and I mean, we have evidence of it. She talks shit about anyone, like, immediately. She has that scene with Jenna a few weeks ago where she goes over with the butternut squash soup and then immediately tells everyone as soon as they get to Anguilla, Jenna wanted to fly first class. That's why she didn't come with us. Like, what a fucking asshole, dude.
I think maybe that's the thing about Aaron is like anybody who behaves in that way, who's immediately shit talking everyone else, it's like, what's going on with you? Have
Exactly.
you taken a minute to look at, are you comfortable in your marriage? You had your vow renewal, but that became about Bryn hitting on your husband. It didn't
Right.
become, if you really give a shit about your vow renewal, that's what that night was about, was how lucky am I that this is my partner? Fuck Bryn and whatever, who cares? Like, but it's always about everyone else. Even in this episode, she takes time out to like shit on the healing session of like, oh, it was too much,
Oh my
for
God,
me. And
Margie.
yeah, it was just
Yeah.
so, but that's not saying like I don't respond to that because I'm not comfortable letting go in front of other people, or I'm not comfortable with, I'm a person who appreciates organized religion. So this stuff feels foreign to me. Like I don't know what's true or what's not true. All I know is that she hates everything and she's better than everything. And I don't know why. And
Yeah.
that makes me feel like there are dark ass secrets. And I think maybe I'm trying to assign those to her marriage because I'm like, what is going on? You hate everything and everyone, but what is Aaron?
I don't even know if she's that deep.
Fucking hell, you're probably right.
I don't know.
I'm
I
trying
really
too
don't.
hard. You're
I
right.
no, I don't know. I don't know which one of us we could both be right. And I am not like that. I don't need to win this conversation, believe me.
No.
No one's a winner here. I'm just kidding.
No, we all lose for
There are
watching this hour of TV.
exactly, exactly. From what we've seen of her, she was raised, extremely loved and cherished by her family, and she was raised with money and hence privilege and tight-knit family, large family, so everyone's reinforcing all of this love and privilege, and I don't know what kind of love it was. I don't know any of that, but, when she called her dad after what was happening with Uba, I was like, "God damn, really? How old are you? And you're still calling papa? Call a girlfriend." I don't know. I don't She's not my people at all. She's not my people.
You
I
mentioned
think
that. How old is she?
she's 35.
Hmm, interesting. I mean, I would probably call
35
my
going on
mom.
45 or 50?
Yeah, I don't know what
Not
I don't know
looks
what her
wise,
deal
but
is.
just I don't like her.
I don't like her either, and I don't know why, and I think that's why I'm bothered. It's like, at least with Bethany, I know why, because she's like, a self-centered, self-serving, self-righteous bitch. But with Erin, I'm just like at a loss of like, who are you and what? I can't grab onto why I hate you. So more will be revealed, I guess.
It's because it's never about her.
You're right. It's it's
She's
it's
sh
always about her shitting on everyone else, and that's boring now. We're
Yeah,
how many
it's
episodes in? I'm bored.
yeah.
Now I wanna know about you. As much as Jessel and Pavitt are, like, a little off-putting and upsetting, at least it feels at least I believe there's I believe what's going on in their marriage.
Yeah.
That's something, I
Aaron doesn't
guess.
bring anything interesting to the table.
Nothing.
Pavitt fascinates me in the fact that he's obsessed with chicken and waffles, and he's getting on a fucking plane to go get a banh mi and save his miles. Now, I can get behind saving your airline miles. Like, if you need to do that, like,
100%.
see, when he said the banh mi, there are so many where I live, there are so many tech people. And tech people, there's a certain kind of tech person that is obsessed with the newest, latest, and greatest donut shop, food truck, restaurant, and they are the kind of people that will wait outside for 2 hours to get a table. I am not that person. I kind of tend to judge those people because I'm like, "What? Like, just why?" It's not my priority.
I don't
And,
know.
I do love I hate the airport experience, and as you've heard me last week, I hate, 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 hate packing.
Mhm.
But being on a flight by myself, if I happen to have a more comfortable seat, if I happen to be in a non-coach seat especially, it is lovely. I'm by myself. Someone's bringing me a drink, you know? I get to do whatever the fuck I want within reason, and I love it.
Well, and
So,
if you're Pavitt, you're probably traveling in that, like I mean, there is a way to travel if you're rich that is really lovely. Even LAX, you can do that concierge service
totally.
where you stay in like a I don't know, some like gorgeous Airbnb situation and someone picks you up and drives you onto the tarmac. Even first class, flying first class is a whole the airport becomes a different experience. But
Totally.
I don't
Totally.
know.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I know. I know.
I'm grossed out by Erin and Abe and Cy and Dave.
I
That was
am
sort of
too,
my
and
takeaway.
I really liked Dave the first time we saw him. I thought that he seemed like a really good balance for Cy. More will be revealed, but he seemed like a genuinely good person a couple episodes back when they were chatting in their kitchen. Was this
Maybe
about
maybe he was
But
just
who
performing
knows?
for the camera here.
Right.
It is also like their first season. There was a lot of husband activity on this episode, so I don't know. Because he was sort of like when they were talking about going to Uba's healing experience, Dave like put his palm on his head, like, oh God, women and their healing. And I was
Oh,
just like, don't
yeah,
do
you know what?
that.
I did not see that. I don't
But
this
again, he could
yeah,
just be noticing cameras and trying to, I don't know, who knows? I just know that I'm glad I wasn't at that dinner with
me
them.
too.
And they're glad I wasn't there too. They would have hated
Oh,
me. They
they
would
would
have
have hated me
commented on
too.
everything I ordered and like,
They would
it
have
would have
talked
been a
shit
hell
about us
show.
immediately after we left the table.
100%. And then we're at the scene that I did like, which is Bryn at this bookstore because her grandma used to take her to the library. So she developed an appreciation for books. And I love that she has this interest in antique books that have no illustrations. The ones that would more likely be discarded if someone didn't collect them. I thought that was very sweet. I did think the woman who works there is like next level musical theater major energy, like
Oh,
pale
I
skin, Bernadette Peters hair with like a bobby pin, a neutral Ann Taylor black suit, like she had like a heart locket, and she was so excited, like, and over articulating. Yes, okay. What we're most excited about here is our Jane Eyre original. Like it was just so much New York City theater energy.
yes, I can totally see that. I adored her in that I thought she was earnest, and she is an antithesis to the dinner we saw the night before.
It's
She
not to say I didn't love her, it was just, like,
Right. No,
coming
I
off of, like,
know.
a Real Housewives of we're on the Real Housewives of New York City, and then we see, like, a real New Yorker, and I was like,
Exactly.
"Right, right, right."
Yeah,
But I love that
totally.
Brynn wasn't a bitch about it. Erin would have been a bitch about it. Brynn just talked to her because she's
Yeah.
genuinely interested in what this woman also loves. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
I completely agree. As someone that loves Shakespeare and loves King Lear, I was really happy to have that book be brought up.
It was
Um,
cool to see all those, like I forget what, like, an old edition publication looks like.
yeah,
Like, it is a little work of art.
it is absolutely. Bryn's brother calls, and they're planning to plant a tree in Central Park to memorialize their grandma Mimi. And I thought it was really sweet.
I
I
thought it was
think,
so sweet.
yeah, I really like the relationship that Bryn and her brother have. And I thought it was a really sweet gesture, and it obviously
Yeah.
means a lot to the both of them.
And I love that that's how she's spending her birthdays, meeting with
Mhm.
an arborist to, like, choose a location. And I love that the brother suggested it be near ducks because Mimi liked to get McDonald's and feed it to the ducks. I thought that
So
was so
cute and
cute.
so specific,
Yeah,
I just want to give a huge plug for your local libraries. They are a service to the community, but you are also a service to the library if you use it. I know for me, I have so many books that I've bought over the years that I haven't even cracked open. And so I am on a huge library kick. Well, I've never not been on a library kick, but like I'm not going to read Andy Cohen's books and buy them. I'm going to check it out from the library. I put it on hold. It's a nice surprise when I get the email. It's here. I get it. I return it in 3 weeks and it's lovely. And you can check out, you can stream movies. You can, check out audiobooks and you might
and
have a
it's
little, and it's
free.
free. And
Free.
the less we use libraries, the the more they're going to go away, and they're struggling right now across the country between lack of funding and these evangelicals that are trying to ban books. Librarians are being they're the targets of violence right now because of extreme right-wing people, and it's not okay. So go to your fucking library, dude. The library is so rad.
It's great, and a
I
lot of them
love
are
it.
beautiful. The one they redid the one out here in West Hollywood, and it's, like, gorgeous, and they're often, like, really lovely architectural
Oh my god,
features in a
I
city.
loved the downtown library, the downtown LA
Yeah.
library. I would go there. Mhm. Mhm.
I did think it was very sweet what Bryn said about her grandma, and I was like, "This sums up a very good life." Bryn said, "She taught me that nobody is better than me, and I'm not better than anyone else.
Mhm.
She wasn't perfect, but she did her best, and her best was more than good enough." And I was like, "If I die and people say that about me, like, life well lived. That is good shit."
Exactly. I love that too, and that is the definition of true humility. You're not better and not worse than anybody else. Oh, but I do feel like I'm better than Matt fucking Gates.
That's fair. I mean, we look, yeah. I think again, it's that whole thing of like if Matt Gaetz was about to get run over by a subway, could you live with yourself if you didn't try to pull him off the tracks?
Yes, I
I
could.
know the answer. As soon as I said that, I was like, Ramona could. I don't
I would
know.
make a t-shirt. I didn't save Matt Gates.
But maybe it's just that you don't live your life motivated by that. You don't enter the world as like, "Hi, I'm Ramona Ramirez and I'm better than Matt Gates." You're just Ramona Ramirez living your life, you
Well,
know?
should I? No, I'm kidding.
I
Yeah, I know.
And I
I
feel
ha
like Bryn is a lovely example of what her grandma taught her. I feel like
Yeah.
she is one of those people who
She
is,
really
I'm
is.
not better than anyone else and you're not better than me. And, I'm doing the best I can.
She seems like Bryn is nice to the people at Starbucks, and she's nice to her waiters and her servers and
And
the
to the lady in
valets
the crazy
and
lady in the library
the lady in
bookstore.
the library, the
She
earnest
didn't
lady in the
look at her
in the bookstore.
sideways.
Yeah,
Yeah, she just talked to her.
she seems like such a sweetheart that really honors seeing the personhood in somebody else.
Mhm.
And I like
Agree.
that in a person. Mhm.
And I like that she has a sense of humor too, because when her brother calls out her cowboy hat, her Kyle Richards Kimo Sabe vest, she's like, "It's not a cowboy hat. Is it a cowboy hat? Oh no, I gotta go home and change my hat." I was like,
Totally, dude.
"Oh,
Relatable.
yes."
Yeah, totally.
Love that.
And then we go to Flow Low for Uba's event for post-trip healing. And all the women but Bryn are there because Bryn has tested positive for COVID. And the leader of the group asks the ladies to set intentions for what they want out of the exercise that they're going to be doing. As soon as it was, and I know this, I know you know this too, because we're both theater college people. There are so many times when your teacher would be like, okay, everyone just got to shake it off, and you'd have to do these, you'd have to shout or do like silly dances or just whatever. And I would feel so self-conscious. But after a while, I didn't. And now I also know like everyone else in here is doing the same thing. But it just was disappointing to see them immediately, except for Uba, just being so critical of it and knowing that that criticism, knowing that that judgment about it is just them not wanting to look stupid.
Yeah.
Or it's unfamiliar, and God forbid we do something unfamiliar without making fun of it or feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, or just like giving over to it. Like at one point,
Yeah,
the healing lady is talking to Sai, saying like, "You have big walls built up. Like, just let those down." And Sai just goes and like smirks and snorts at her. And I was just like, you know what? You can not be like an overt bitch about this moment. You can like let this lady do her craft and decide if you like it later. For the sake of your friend Uba, who put this together for you, like just be like a
exactly.
decent not gross person. But again, Sai and Erin were distractingly annoying. Erin sitting up before the thing was over was like rude, and I don't know, their attitude is just, I don't know. I don't like those people.
I don't
They
either.
make me very uncomfortable
They make
because
me uncomfortable too.
they can't enjoy anything and they think you're a dork for enjoying anything.
Yeah,
So fine.
yeah. I really loved the very simple yet profound and powerful inner child work that the leader did with Jenna. She was instructing Jenna to comfort her inner child, saying, listen, it's all going to be okay. And Jenna has turned out okay in many, many ways that could definitely make an inner child feel safe. And I think inner child work is, I remember the first time I did it, it was really, really, I had, well, I was also really young when I did it, but it did feel foreign and it did feel scary because it felt foreign. Now I find it incredibly profound. And when I'm having a really hard time with something, I find it really helpful when I close my eyes and get in touch with my inner child as much as I can and let her know it's going to be okay. Because when I feel abject terror about something, especially when it's not commensurate with what's going on in reality, I know that it's the youngest parts of me that are feeling really, really scared. And my job is to be there for my inner child and help her. And that's one of the reasons why I still love to go to Disneyland as much as I do. It's not that I'm a Disney adult.
Hmm,
I like to honor my inner child by taking her to the place that she felt the safest and the freest when she was a child.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I appreciate Jenna just being willing to try. Like and when it was over, she reflected on like, the drum beat actually does help me meditate, and she said she wouldn't go there to the point of crying, but like she tried. Like she did. She repeated back all of the things. I'm from the future. I'm telling your inner child you're safe, all that stuff. She's like the most powerful person there in theory with like the biggest image to maintain. And she was willing to do this on camera. And yet Sai and Erin are just, little assholes in the corner.
Yeah. Sigh, like, I can't. I can't. It's like, do you ever get curious about why though?
Well, to me, I was just like, that is the daughter of an alcoholic.
Oh my God,
She
Margie,
is
you're
such an
right.
untreated Al Anon, God bless her.
You're
She is
right.
so fucking cut off. She is so fucking controlling.
You're right.
She cannot handle, she thinks she's right all the time, and she cannot handle letting anyone else live their life their way, Jessel. And she is so broken. And yeah, in this scene and in the rest of this, I was just like, oof, your alcoholic upbringing is showing.
I can't believe I didn't put those two together. You're absolutely right. Her
Well, and
defenses
then,
are up because they
yeah.
had to be for so long. It's
And
just
and she
now they don't.
weirdly
But yeah.
mentions her alcoholic upbringing once, and then later in the lunch with Jessel is like, "I don't want to talk about it. I talked about it once. We don't talk about it again." And I'm like, "Well, that is an alcoholic family, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
you mention it once,
totally.
you never mention it in public again, and whatever." Anyways, she's
Totally.
just, and of course, the thing is over, and Sai's the one who says, "Let's gossip." And I was just like, you guys just finished like a healing inner child
Oh,
moment. And now we're right back to,
oh, I
is Jessel
know.
going to have sex? And
I
then
mean,
poor Jessel has her angle on that, which is pleasing everyone. I'm going to the new Ritz Carlton. It's going to be so sick. I have toys and outfits. And even though
what
she's,
about the connection? You're looking forward to connecting with your husband.
that is the missing
Yeah.
piece by miles. It is. And now there's so much pressure on this night. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like New Year's Eve level expectations of like, we have to get dressed up, we have to do things we've never done.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks like they would just enjoy getting loaded. And
Yeah,
also, like,
that's
having a night to have sex is just too much
it
pressure.
is.
Like,
It's a lot of pressure.
I don't know.
I just Uba's surrendering to the whole process was really just so beautiful to watch. Like she really I just love Uba. She
I do
really
too.
wanted to get what she could out of that and she was ready and willing to be open. And then Sai not being healed because there's nothing wrong with her. Ma'am,
Forgot about that.
ma'am.
Girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but yeah, they gossip and it's gross.
It is. And then we go to a scene that was just like a, just watching an eating disorder bloom. Sai and her daughter having post ballet treats. And again, this was not the point of the scene, but I bring my own damage to the show. And I just watched a 10-year-old girl talk about perfectionism in a ballet class and then decide to eat one of her 5 macaroons and save the rest and
Yeah.
announce that. And if you're 10 and you're thinking about what you're eating and you're in ballet, like you're about to have an eating disorder. And I was
Right.
mad at Sai for talking about her gymnastics, I'm so poor, impoverished
Oh my
upbringing,
God.
as opposed to witnessing her daughter being like, I don't know. It's okay that you didn't have your foot in the wrong position. It's okay that you cared that you made that mistake.
Totally.
And enjoy your treats, honey, if you can. And if not, I'm going to put you in therapy because as someone who was a ballet dancer, you are rewarded for starving yourself and talking about denying yourself treats, and like that is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But Sai is so obsessed with being proud of herself for giving her like she's not paying attention
I
to
know.
what her daughter may or may not be going through. Her daughter is not me, but like it broke my heart.
Did did it bother you? It felt really weird to me that I have these conversations with my own son about how different his childhood is. So maybe I'm being full hit by even bringing this up with Sai, but it just felt like it was a it to use the word competition doesn't feel 100% authentic. It felt to me it felt like Sai started to dominate the conversation talking about her childhood. And and then when she said, "You didn't even ask me about my trip," she's 10. She's a child. I do not expect my kid to say, Mama, how was your trip? He's going to be like, what did you bring me?
Mhm.
Come look at my Hot Wheels. You know, like I just, I thought it was gross.
It was a
It made me
weird
uncomfortable.
it was a weird scene, and I judge Sai for doing it, for putting her daughter through that, because the scene was for Sai to express her feelings about the trip. Don't do that with your 10-year-old. Because
No.
her daughter was so cute too. I don't even remember, Sai was setting up something major and her daughter just goes ASMR and like
Yeah.
crinkles paper. And I was like, that's so cute. I want to watch that little
Yeah.
interaction between parent and child.
Yeah.
The whole thing felt so inorganic. And absolutely, there's nothing I love more than organically hearing a story from my mom's childhood, but not if she were to sit me down and give me a TED talk about it. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going to buy you dessert so you can eat and shut up while I tell you about bouncing around, pretending to be a gymnast. I don't know. But, and also that bothers me because, like, there are lots of athletes in this world who came from fucking nothing. So you're not denied the course that you want to take because you don't have money. You're denied it because either you don't actually care about it, you don't want to follow through with it, you don't have the talent. Like, there are other things at play here. So to say that, like, you're going to get what you want because of money is really shitty. And to
Yeah.
say that you can't have what you want because of money is also problematic, in my opinion.
No, I hear you. And I can also, this might go to size still broken parts about, I'm sure her mom wasn't able to, because of her extreme alcoholism, look into gymnastics classes that were free or had financial aid or something, because I had the same thought there. And I'm not saying it is easy
No,
to
it's
have
very
to
hard.
find
Very
those
hard.
things, and the practice schedules sound grueling and sound inconvenient and sound like there's lots of driving involved. So none of those, I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying that, I don't know, she's
Like,
10. You don't have
yeah,
to go that
it's
deep into it
yes.
yet.
And yeah, it's reductive at best for her to
Yeah.
say that, like, I didn't get anything because I was poor. I didn't travel till I was in college. I felt bad for the kid because it's
Yeah.
like, then does she feel bad about what she had? I don't know.
I don't
It was
know.
just
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
And now we go on to more Jessel and Pavitt. The scene was so uncomfortable. This is where I wrote down, neither of them wants to do this. This is Pavitt entering with champagne. And then he says he has a a reservation at like a Michelin star restaurant. Jessel goes, "It's not stuffy, is it?" And he goes, "It's not 3 stars. You're not worth 3 stars." And it was like, oh no. And then Jessel shows the lingerie that she has for dessert. And he just goes, "Can we have real dessert too?" And I'm like, why
Yeah.
don't you guys just not do this day? This is not, if we're gearing up towards like sexy night, nobody's in the mood, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this just felt so awful.
It really did. It really did.
And her trying to like ride him and lick him. It looked like they'd never touched before in their lives. He looked like he was being assaulted.
That's where they maybe need to start, is just cuddling on the couch while watching their Netflix,
Yes.
giving a hug to each other when they walk through the kitchen, or,
Mhm.
a kiss hello or a kiss goodbye. It does feel they feel like they're very awkward in front of each other, and
Mhm.
not, maybe they're awkward themselves. And so then they're awkward with each other. Yeah.
I mean, she came out modeling the lingerie, and by the way, she looked hot.
She looked amazing.
And he just laughed. And I was like, "Oh
Oh,
no."
yeah.
Cuz that to
Yeah.
me should have been like, "Cancel the reservations. Let's just get it on now. Get the camera crew out
Exactly.
of here." But he laughed
Exactly.
at her. And
It
then
was
that's tough. That's
oh
hard to come
god.
back
Oh
from.
god.
Oh.
I know that it was a, like, fluffier scene, but Uba's ritual getting ready for her beautiful, loving self-care bath, I just really liked it. I was, like, very inspired to see her setup and what she does, and I was like, "Oh,
And I
okay.
believed every step of it. I
Me
don't know what the
too."
oil that she put on the salt was like, or whatever that
Yeah.
whole thing. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm
Me
fascinated." This looks
too.
that is what I think people mean when they talk about self-care. I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it was
holy shit."
beautiful. It was beautiful.
And I thought
Mhm.
her soap beard attempt was cute
It
and
was very
funny.
cute.
But then
Oh, and then we go to Cy and Jessel's sad, sad lunch. I would be pissed. I would have left 41 minutes and
hold, please.
okay, okay.
Cy enters and there's a chyron that says 11:20, 20 minutes late. Cy was 20 minutes late. She waited
Oh.
20 minutes, maybe 21 minutes. So everyone was 20 minutes late here. So her whole thing about, I waited 45 minutes. And I'm not, you know, you didn't. You were 20 minutes late and you didn't call her to tell her you were late. You were mad because you wanted to be late and make that bitch wait. And she was later than you. You suck. She's mean.
I didn't even catch that, Margee.
I
Oh my
was
God.
pissed. Yeah, because I think she intended to come in on her high horse being like, "I'm working. I'm not gonna apologize
Oh,
for being late."
totally.
But that failed, and so then she switched it to, "You kept me waiting." It was just a gross, but yes, I mean, either one of them could have called the other. Sai should have texted to say, "I'm running 20 minutes late," but that was a power move, and it backfired, and then Jessel truly being 40 minutes late is like, "Whoa."
That's gross.
That
Yeah,
is, it's all disrespectful and terrible. But I would have believed it. I would have been totally stoked that she was that late if she was like, I'm just getting back from the Ritz. Oh my God. We just had sex for the first time in 18 months. That would have been like cute and fun.
totally.
But instead, it was
Totally.
just weird.
Oh my God. Don't bother going to lunch if you're not going to have a little bit of an open mind to the person. This is just like Heather and Gina going to lunch or last episode. It's the same thing. Like Sai has her opinion about Jessel, and I don't think anything's going to sway it. The way she's like, yeah, I'm working. I'm working. It's a work day. I'm working. I'm working. It's like that all was coming from a place of judgment. I don't think she was really feeling as stressed about work as she wanted it to look. She was more trying to find a way to dig at dig
She
at Jessel.
wanted
Yeah.
I mean, to me, she has some like a little bit of the same energy that my dad does, where it's like a little confusing, but you wind up feeling like shit, like an absolute small piece of shit that is a bother and a nuisance and a nightmare because everything is the matter. She's like, don't one up me. She's talking about like, stop comparing, stop trying to one up me with your stories of, poverty and strife. And then Jessel says, my concern is that that's how that came off and that wasn't my intention. And then Sai says, I don't care. And it's like, well, but that's what you've been yelling about literally for every episode up until this moment in this season. So that's confusing and that makes me feel crazy. And then she pulls that controlling thing of like, we just want straightforward. We,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
whole
She's
group has
talking on
talked
behalf
about
of the
like,
group. Right.
that's also shitty as if like a whole committee has met before this luncheon that you claim you don't want to be at. You never want to like the whole thing is just it's so controlling. It's so shitty. And believe me, Jessel is digging herself into her own hole here. But to me, it just is like two untreated Al-Anons who are on different sides of the spectrum of how that manifests in a human being having lunch. And it is a disaster. One
Mm-hmm.
is controlling and judgmental, the other is a hopeless people pleaser. And
Oh
it
my God.
ends in like the ugliest fucking way possible. Thought it was so fucking rude that she says, I love you, but I gotta go. Check. And then
Yeah.
just fucking leaves. Monster.
When Jessel brings up the fact that her uncle was alcoholic, that was really sad. And Cy was looking at it as a competition. I'm sure I can speak on your behalf. I'm not going to, but I'm sure I could. When it was apparent that Jessel was coming from a place of wanting to relate with Cy. Like, here is Cy asking Jessel in Anguilla at this lunch, be open, be open, be open, be open. She's talking about her uncle that she lived with being an alcoholic, died from his alcoholism. When you die from alcoholism, you're an alcoholic, you know? And it, when I saw the picture of them together, when he walked her down the aisle, he was young. He was not like an old alcoholic. He was a middle aged alcoholic. And she was saying she had tried to help him and she was tearing up. And Cy I would have related. I would have, if someone was talking to me about their alcoholic family member, I would have just related. And in Sai's saying that she's trying to compare it, it's not a comparison, it's a relation. Anyway,
You can speak for me. I
yeah,
totally agree. And Sai was just ice cold saying like, I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that. And it takes two to be in a competition. So Sai is engaging in this competition. If
yeah,
she just stepped aside and let her life be her life and just listened to Jessel, whether she liked it or not, whether she believed it or not, if you're not competing, then there's no competition. But if
mm-hmm,
you're listening to Jessel and trying to compare it to your own story that you already told, and it was so hard for you to talk about your mom, and it's like, well, you're the one engaging in the competition. You need two people at a start line for the gunshot to go off to start a
totally,
race. Otherwise, there's no one to
totally.
race. So don't go to the start line. Ugh,
Just
she's awful.
knowing that this is in Jessel's history and seeing how much importance that Pavitt and Jessel put on drinking, even if they're drinking Dom or Vouv. I just wonder if there's something there. I just wonder. I'm not saying there is. I just wonder. When we got that piece of information at the end, it just made me kind of look at things in a different way. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all.
No, I don't disagree. These are both women who were raised by alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to look at. Um, yeah. And I thought I think Sai missed an opportunity when Jessel said, you and Erin are vultures. Whenever I try to tell you something, you both just come to pick it apart. Like you're not here to listen. You're here to like choose a detail or choose some overarching theme that you disagree with, and you just discount me completely. But that conversation couldn't happen because Sai
Mm-mm.
decided to just up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
So rude. And then told her on the way out, now you can drink. Did you hear that?
I
She's like,
thought that
now you can
Jessel
have
was the one that
alcohol.
said, I'm gonna now I can drink. I don't
It
know.
was in
But
response to
oh, I
Sai. Sai was like,
see.
now you can drink. And she's like, yeah, now I can drink. So again, it's like a controlling perfectionist being like, I'm going to leave you, you loser with no job, alcoholic, and I'm going to go do my busy day and not have a drink because I'm like very, whatever.
God
Anyways,
bless. God
I
bless everyone
know.
on this journey. Yeah. I don't it just goes again, Margie. It's like I don't want what Heather Dubrow has. I don't think I want what anyone on Orange County has. I don't want what anyone on this cast has either. There are definitely like I want Jenna Lyon's apartment. I want her closet. I don't know. I don't want anything Cy has. I don't want anything. I don't want what these women have.
I mean, I don't know enough about Uba yet, but there is
Oh
something
yeah,
about her
Uba.
that intrigues me. Her life seems like pretty cool.
I want to
But
hang out with Uba so bad.
yeah,
If she would have me.
I know.
If she would have me.
Yes, I think
Mhm.
Uba and Bryn are bright lights in this.
Totally.
Jenna's like good, and Sai and Erin, I don't know. I
I
don't
know.
like them at all.
I know.
And
I
not in
don't
a fun way, not the fun way I hated Ramona, because
totally.
it's almost like those women were so unself-aware that their self-importance was hilarious because it's so like nobody cares about Ramona Pinot Grigio the way Ramona did.
I mean,
Nobody else thought it was like, yeah,
I care about Ramona, racist Ramona,
a
but I
hundred
don't but
percent.
yeah, but I
I'm
know what
talking
you're
about like
saying.
season one,
No,
season two,
totally.
like,
I
yeah,
100%, 100%. Like,
delusional
refer
behavior.
to me as you need to introduce me as the Countess,
Right.
not Mrs. de Lesseps, and laughing about it like, hello.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah. I probably would have been like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." This is the Countess Luann, Countess de Lesseps.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
God bless those first seasons. See, the thing is, too, yeah, I love the idea of reboots, but everyone now knows how the sausage is made,
True.
And so they can come with these cultivated personalities, and it doesn't feel. I do feel that Jenna is authentic, and Bryn and Uba are very authentic, and the other ones, if that is them being authentic, like I don't even want to be next to you ordering a coffee.
I don't think they are being authentic, but again, this is sort of like the dues we pay at the beginning of a reality TV season is or series is that eventually the truth will come up. If you decide to put your life on camera
Yep.
over enough time, we're going to find out what is really going on between Erin and Abe and what, and maybe in 5 years, Cy and Jessel will be best friends because they'll have figured out that like
Maybe.
their alcoholic upbringings affected them in similar ways, which is why they couldn't stand each other. And maybe they find that, I don't know. Yeah, it's not everything Andy Cohen hyped this season to be.
No. It had me for a few episodes, and then the Anguilla trip, I was just like, "Oh god." I went to bed at 8:30 last night. I was so exhausted. I didn't even watch last night. I got up this morning and watched it. And I told Josh, I'm like, "You don't even have to, just don't even bother with this episode. There's no reason to
Mm-hmm.
bother yourself."
Agree. It's like
Anyway,
watching all the Bachelor seasons so that when you watch Bachelor in Paradise, you like understand what's going on. I
totally.
feel like I'm just getting to know these people so that if down the line something happens, whatever. Anyways,
Speaking of Bachelor in Paradise, friend, what else did
yes.
you watch this week?
I sort of like, again, half watched The Golden Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise. I didn't pay attention the whole time, but I certainly had it on. Um, And you know what else I watched that's relevant to our show, our podcast, is the D'Amelio show, which it follows the D'Amelio family. Charlie D'Amelio is this TikToker dancer who like blew up on that app. And since then, her sister has blown up and the whole family has blown up. And they have a show on Hulu and it's in its third season. And what I find interesting about it is you get a look behind the scenes of the curated content. So everything you see on TikTok is like darling and gorgeous and their family's great. And then in the reality series, you see the crippling insecurities these two young girls have and how deeply they take the comments, the bad comments that people make. I mean, they are incredibly whiny and annoying completely. They are characters that belong on Saturday Night Live, but it is interesting to see. I'll just speak for myself. I sometimes can lose track of like the whole humanity of a human being and their extended family when I see them presented on TikTok or on
Totally.
TV or whatever.
Totally.
And this is a really interesting behind the scenes look at like a family, just like growing pains within a family. The sisters are best friends and they can't fucking stand each other and they support each other like crazy and they compete and compare. And it's just like really, it's a it's real family dynamics dialed up to like a million. So it's interesting. I don't recommend it necessarily, but somehow wound up watching it and I was interested and
I
thought
think
it was
they
good.
were they in the press? Were the sisters in the press like maybe a year or two ago for something they said or did? I don't I Are they brunette?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think I have a vague idea of who they are, and I remember they were like a blip on page 6 or in the FOMOI Reddit sub at some point,
I
but
mean,
that's all I know
that's
about them.
also what's kind of hilarious is about it is I don't know them for shit. I came across the show randomly because Hulu knows me and it's like, you might like this. And I was like, yes, I will. But they take themselves so seriously. And they do. They have like millions of followers and like they do have a whole world, but their reach isn't as it's not like they're not the president of anything. They're just some kids
Sure.
who do TikTok dancing who are teenagers and have insecurities and boyfriends and breakups and their parents are struggling right now and they're taking that on and it's just interesting to watch people go
Yeah.
through life. That's all. Anyways, what did you watch?
Watched Bachelor in Paradise, and I love it. It's a train wreck that you're able to watch and be entertained by, and I'm not proud to admit, but I also feel like some sense of pride in the fact that I have watched every single season of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. I didn't quite watch Bachelor Pad because I thought it was insanely disgusting. Like I dipped in and out of that, but
I watched it. It
um
was mean and
yeah,
awful.
it
I
was
hated
terrible.
it.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
I saw
not
that one
fun.
episode with when they
No.
threw the eggs on the girl who wore the tiara on her butt.
Mhm.
That was terrible. Bachelor Pad is an awful, awful. I mean, on the spectrum of terribleness on that fucking franchise and all its iterations, it's diabolical.
Mhm.
I watched The Golden Bachelor with my mom and my sister over text. We had a group text going on. And
Amazing.
my sister and I are like, "Mom, you have to do it. Mom, you have to do it." I was just really glad that it got 4.1 million views or million viewers.
Mhm.
And it was really nice to see them all dancing together, just the absence of the insecurities that we see with the, early 20 somethings who are gonna be talking shit about the early 30 somethings because her eggs are gonna go bad and yada yada. So I liked it. And at first I wasn't sure about Gary, and now I think he's pretty sweet. I have no idea, and I was also really glad that Matt James's mom Patty went home. Haha, bye, Patty.
That was a really weird moment. That
Yeah,
I did not care for. I wish we could have missed that. I
she shouldn't
find
have been on,
Gary
but
very funny. He's like Ernie, like from I don't know.
it
He's
was
he's very earnest, but
very earnest, very earnest. I liked seeing the non-toned arms. I liked seeing the age. I liked seeing the silver hair.
they
I
were all gorgeous though.
They
They
were.
didn't look like yeah.
They were all gorgeous because gorgeous doesn't end
Right.
when you're no longer castable or, deemed to be beautiful enough to be in a magazine or high ass, high tits. You know what I mean? It's just so I liked it. I was really glad, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know. I don't find him to be the most dynamic human being, but I'm rooting for him to have like the love story of a lifetime. And it is interesting because the women do still say things like, wow, there's so many beautiful women here.
Yep.
And like that
Mhm.
doesn't go away. So I will be curious to see like if those dynamics kick up, the competitive dynamics, like if there's a, 70-year-old sigh in the mix there somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, so there will be drama, but I don't know if that's what they're going for. Anyways, it's a whole new path, and I'm
I
so
think it's gonna
excited to
be
watch it play out.
the former dancer who Prince allegedly wrote the song about. I think
That was wild.
she's there to cause some trouble, and I'm not sure she's my favorite yet. I don't know if I have a favorite. I like Marina. I like
The when he gave the first impression to Rose too, I was like, that's where I was like, Gary. She
Yeah.
came in on a motorcycle. She played a white Dolly Parton guitar original song. I was like, oh no, that's what Gary loves. All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whatever. Love is love. It's his. You know.
It's interesting to see something fresh and new.
And there was
So,
kissing, wasn't there?
oh yeah, there was kissing. Mhm.
Damn.
Yeah, there was kissing. Oh, we started watching this documentary series on Max called The Anarchists, and I guess it came out like maybe a few years ago, maybe it didn't come out like right away, but I don't it's really terrifying.
It's like an hour long like drama
Yeah.
horror thing.
No, it's a docuseries.
Oh
So
shit.
it's about these Americans, mostly white. They take being libertarian like to a next level. Like they don't want any kind of government and they justify it and rationalize it. And it's just almost culty and it's creepy. It's good, it's entertaining. And then I watched a show called Starstruck. And this is also on Max. I cannot recommend it enough. The episodes are about 22 to 25 minutes long. It is a romantic comedy. All of the acting is great. The storyline is compelling as hell. It's so cute. I love it. There are 3 seasons. I binged all of season 1, I think, on Saturday night.
Is
And
it an American show or is it
It's
Oh,
English,
okay.
yeah, and I believe that the lead actress is from New Zealand. I just loved it. I loved every episode, and there's 3 seasons total, so I get to watch 2 more, and I'm really excited.
Yay.
Yep, that's it. What was your antidepressant this week?
Oh, my antidepressant this week was my friend just got a brand new puppy. And
Mm.
I think on Friday, it's the first time she's ever had her own pet. And certainly she's never raised a puppy before. And it's a lot of work. And she called on Friday afternoon, just completely overwhelmed, crying. She's like, I can't get any work done. I'm ruining this
Oh.
puppy. So I went over and like hung out with the dog and played with the dog and hung out with my friend. And it was just like
Aw.
nothing better than like playing with a puppy, and also nice to just reassure my friend, like, you're doing great. You're not ruining her. She's not in a shelter. She's here in your like beautiful warm home with food and toys. And like, she's a puppy. She's going to stare at you and want all of your attention all the time because she's an idiot. She's
That's really
only been on the
sweet.
planet for 8 weeks. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but my friend was like exhausted, and
Of
it's just
course.
hard. I don't know if it's like parenting a child, but I imagine when you see something sweet and innocent looking at you and needing things from you, but you're at your absolute limit,
Oh, yeah.
it's just the worst feeling in the whole wide world. So I
Yeah.
was grateful to
Yeah.
be able to drive over and hang out with Gilda the puppy and Amy, my
Oh.
friend.
Oh. Let's see. Mine is that it hasn't quite happened yet, but I get to do ketamine tomorrow, and there is a shortage going on, which is why I wasn't able to do it a couple of weeks ago. But the medicine came on time, and I cleared my schedule, and I get to do it before I go to New Orleans. And then I've been, on group chats with all the people going, and I just like can't wait to see these people. And I feel really lucky, comparing it to what I just saw on RHONY. Granted, those people are coworkers, they're not really friends. It just makes me grateful for the friends that I do have, that I've had since, I've known Amy, the person whose anniversary party we're going to. I've known her since I was 16 and she was 13, and she and my
Jeez.
sister became best friends. So, like she's family, and two of my best friends are going, and it's just I can't wait.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for
I'm
you.
so excited for me too. Thank you. I'm
And I'm
really
glad you're
excited.
getting to do ketamine before you go, because we
Me
were
too.
talking before we started
Yeah.
recording that there's some like travel anxiety
I
going on,
have,
but I wonder if that might just get
yeah.
right sized once you've
It's,
had a little treatment.
you set an intention before you start your journey. And so, yes, I really, really, really definitely want to let go of the travel anxiety. I cannot control what's going to happen at the airport. I cannot control if I miss this flight. I'm doing everything I can to not, but we will see. And I just guess I could take my own advice and tell my little girl inside, we will eventually get to New Orleans, even if you don't make this connection, which you probably will. But it's easier to think about that than having to think about the fact that I've got to like organize my meds and get the fucking, bag that's going to go under my seat together, because that is also packing. But more that I want to focus on tomorrow is I have such a tendency to let what other people do affect me. And I'm talking like complete strangers. Like if someone takes their shoes off on the airplane, am I what like what's going to happen? Like I am humble enough to know that I could go like viral airplane Karen wearing an outfit that Susie Green from Curb Your Enthusiasm might have been wearing. You know, I am not above that. I am like honestly, I have talked to my therapist. Like I don't want to go viral for my behavior. My mom and my sister and some of my friends like, why are you so like? Why does this person's behavior that you're never going to see this person again, like why does it eat at you so much? And again, it's like I have this real attachment to that psychic scoreboard, you know like talking about Matt Gaetz earlier. Like, yeah, I'm fucking better than that guy. And I'm not saying the hypothetical person that could take their shoes off on the airplane, I'm not saying that they're any better or any less than me, but I don't want to go on this trip giving people that I don't know free places to live in my head. And I have been doing it so much in the last like month to the point where I'm like, I'm going fucking crazy. Like, that
Mhm.
is what I want to work on tomorrow. That is the big intention, is to let go of that so that I can have a good time. Because people are going to always piss me off. People are going to
Yes.
always do things that I deem to be fucked in the presence of other people. People are always going to act like selfishly.
Hmm.
And
Especially in travel situations.
right,
There is something
exactly.
that it really brings out some of the worst in some people.
Exactly.
My mom was just traveling, and she's 82, and she was in line at the security line, and thank God her younger sister, who's like 10 years younger than her, was with her. And like this fucking young annoying couple just stepped right in front of my teeny tiny ancient mom, and my mom in her way was just like, oh well. But my aunt lost her shit and was like, you do not do that. respect your elders. She's 82, but they wouldn't move. Yeah. So they stayed in front of my mom. They just like, but this is what I mean. It's like, and my mom was like fine with it. And I was mad at her for being fine with it. But then I'm like, why am I mad at these people that I've never met? Everyone got on their planes. It's all fine. But like, there is something about travel that it's just like, I get extra mad about things like fucking age before beauty people. It is a rule.
Oh my
Abide.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I,
my mom has
yeah.
her own like natural ketamine, I guess, because she could give a shit. She was just like,
Uh,
those people suck. On with my day.
well, I'll have what she's having because
Right.
honestly, yeah, honestly. Oh, Margie, it was really great to see you again,
Yeah.
as always.
I'm glad
And
we got to talk about New York a little bit.
me
And
too.
maybe,
Me
yeah.
too.
But I'm glad we won't be sticking with this
Me
franchise
too.
for
Me
the rest
too.
of the season.
I think we have Potomac and Beverly
Oh,
Hills
yeah.
starting at the end of this month or at the beginning of November, which is going to be great. And we will obviously be back next week on our regular schedule where we will be talking about Real Housewives of Orange County. By the time we all meet again, dear audience, we will have 2 episodes of the reunion under
There are
our.
only 2, so we'll be able to,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
which
All
I think
right.
is great. So we'll just do one
Okay.
reunion episode and that'll be great.
And we'll have to decide what we're going to talk about next. Cough, cough.
Yeah.
Maybe Salt Lake City.
Wonderful. I'm into
Yeah.
it.
The
Here for
season's
it.
already started, but everyone's watching that. Okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please get a hold of us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com or our Instagram at atherapeuticdose. Rate, review, subscribe, pass the pod on to your friends. We
And
appreciate
take
it.
care of yourselves. And
Yes.
we will talk to you next Thursday. Or
Take
wait,
very, very
yeah,
good
a week
care.
from Thursday.
Yes. A
All
week
right.
from Thursday. Take care of your inner children, y'all.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margee are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.